Hey, welcome back to New Horizons. So it's been a bit of time between the episodes. I've been tidying up a little bit, doing some invisible changes, so to say, around the base. I doubled up our maceration stacks here at ore processing, and a similar thing here for the centrifuge steps. We now have 2 of these things running. So our goal for today is to be able to get Naquadah and finish off this whole Naquadah processing line that we started a couple of episodes back. But first we have a few issues to address here at the platinum line. So we overclocked a few of these machines last episode, which meant that this thing is now running through a lot of the input items much faster. One of those being calcium. We're down to our last 83 calcium dust, 84 calcium dust. We get it out of the occasional ore at ore processing, but it's not very frequent and we need a more reliable source of calcium. So about an hour ago I swapped out our farming station here to farm ghostwood. We're already up to 191 stacks, but this needs processed. Alright, well that was easy. We got 2 extractors here extracting the saplings and the wood, which then gives us bone meal, and that is pulled into this electrolyzer to give us calcium. This is extracted on blue and connects up to this drawer network, which is also connected to our AE system. And I didn't lock the drawer in time. Let's give it some drawer upgrades. Not that it'll probably need it because it's all going to get sent over to platinum. Hopefully this is fast enough though. Well, that was quite the grind there, but we're not finished. We're just getting started today. So I've made some preparations, looking ahead a little bit on what we need. The next stage of the Naquadah line requires the Neutron Activator, which is in the multi-block goals tab. To make the Neutron Activator, we need the precise assembler, and this is the broken recipe I pointed out a couple of episodes ago, which needs the adamantium alloy gear, which for us is currently unobtainable. However, we also need 4 high computation station Mark 1s, and most notably this needs signalium. Yes, there's an I in there, I don't know why. So signalium dust is pretty easy, it's just a mixer recipe. But in order to smelt this thing, we need to have LuV power in our blast furnaces. And while I can foresee the blast furnaces being a big bottleneck here in the next few days, I don't think we're going to be building any more right now, at least not at the start of this episode. And to overclock this, we could either add another LuV Energy Hatch, but we don't have any more hatches or sides of the machine available basically, since we can only put these on the bottom. So instead of going with double IV, we're going to try to invest in the LuV Energy Hatches. Although, as you can see by the recipe, this is the assembly line processing. And this is where things start to all tie together. So you remember this thaumium farm that we made a couple of episodes back? Well, I thought I just saw a weed out the corner of my eye there, but no. No, we're fine, we're safe. Yeah, all of this thaumium that we've been farming, which by the way is currently creeping up our the list in our AE terminal here. We're at 73,000 thaumium. Yeah, the thaumium along with indium, barium, titanium, platinum, all the things we've been working to automate, is all going to come together to make this LuV superconductor wire. So this is used 2 at a time in the energy hatch recipe. However, I believe the number is something like 2048 that we need for fusion. And just out of curiosity, for 2048 of these superconductor wires, I mean look, it's 134 electric LuV pumps, which that is just madness. So we've got that to look forward. 2,000 Rurida ingots, that is absolutely insane. So this is a craft we've got coming up pretty soon here, but for now we only need 2 of these things. So the 2 other things that we need for this is the ludicrous voltage coil, which takes an LuV assembly machine. So I have our LuV assembly machine set up here along with hydrogen, which is also something we need for the superconductor wire. The hatch also takes the ultra high power ICs, which have to be in an LuV cutting machine, so that's what the overclock was in that little time lapse. I overclocked this thing and also this LCR. And to make this, we need 4 ingots of molten Naquadah. You may remember us smelting like a tiny amount of the Naquadah oxide mixture, which can give us nuggets. It's a very, very inefficient recipe, but that's how we have the 28 that we have here. And in the recipe for the UHPIC, we're going to put the Naquadah in the first slot, even though we need the fluid. So that'll all be sent to the chest, and then we just have to whitelist in the fluid extractor, which is connected to the input bus. And also set a blacklist on the input bus of the LCR. I think we now just need a recipe to cut these wafers. We'll also need to teach our assembly line the recipe as well, so we need a spare IV Energy Hatch. And that has to go through our scanner with a data stick. Okay, and it looks like also our superconductor base is hung up here on the recipe. Did we miss something here? Oh no. Oh, we need to overclock the vacuum freezer as well, I think. Right? Yeah, this is also LuV, and this thing I assume is only running at IV. That appears to be the case here. Yep. Okay, you know what? Here's what we're going to do. We're going to wait for these last 3 dusts. In the meantime, we'll check for maintenance, which I noticed actually has occurred here in one of our turbines. This is becoming a frequent problem that we have to address. I think after Naquadah and probably pre-fusion, we're going to address our maintenance for real this time. Oh, another one. Right next to it has also has maintenance issues. Yeah, as long as none of the critical infrastructure of the base has maintenance issues, then we should be fine. Especially this thing, since we need more plutonium for it. But yeah, we're going to take one of the energy hatches off of this blast furnace here. And we're just going to go double IV on the vacuum freezer for the time being. And that should allow us to cool down these superconductors. Oh no, something is very, very wrong here. No. I think we might have just voided all of those. Oh no, what did we do? Oh, I think it must have been this transformer right here. Because this is also powering all of these lines of blast furnaces. Yeah, this is going to have to be a high power transformer. Alright, well that was a bit of a fail, but I did switch around the energy hatches and got all the things smelted again. So I think now we can request our LuV energy hatch, the first of many. And hopefully I encoded the recipe right this time for the assembly line. Any second now we should see it show up. I did put in the data stick as well. Oh, it is crafting this time. Nice. So that took a little while to get set up, but we should be able to make more of these and also pick up the quest next time. Since we're going to need at least 16, I think it is, for fusion. But yeah, this first hatch is going to go on our blast furnace here. I also noticed as part of the precise assembler, we need lumium with 2 eyes, which is also an LuV blast furnace recipe. And this is going to require us to make luminescence, which in this pack is a little strange. We have to fluid solidify phosphoric acid with high energy mixture. So I've shuffled around some machines here to allow us to create the fluid that we need. We are grabbing phosphorus pentoxide dust from our ME system from this interface, and we're also giving the chemical reactor water with the use of the reservoir. That's going to make us phosphoric acid, get sent to the fluid solidifier, and we have a pattern in here which sends the high energy mixture, which is just some glowstone, redstone, and aluminium dust in the mixer. So other than that, we also need iridium reinforced alloy, which is made in the assembly machine with some iridium. We don't have too much of this smelted right now, actually. And this also takes exquisite diamonds. But we have our ore processing set up here to keep all exquisites, so we should see a decent amount of exquisites of every type in here. Yeah, once we have the alloy ingot, we have to then send this through our implosion compressor, which should now be fully automated. And I think the last thing for the precise assembler, other than this ridiculous steel, which has a crazy mixer recipe, I'll take care of that, is going to be at least 8 ASOCs, which come from Naquadah doped wafers. So we have at least an ingot of Naquadah to be able to make this, but we need 16 blocks of silicon, which are currently crafted here. And then we need the elite circuit board, which is not something that we currently have automated actually. But you know, since we're not going to be using these elite boards for circuits until we have the circuit assembler, the multi-block circuit assembler, we again are just going to do these things on demand and add some patterns in this LCR. And I think besides that, we are just going to be waiting on this lumium and signalium smelting. Let's see how long this takes. 80 seconds per ingot. Well, I mean, we don't need too much of it, right? It shouldn't be too bad. You know when you're playing this game and you think you're maybe only an hour away from where you want to be? And then you dig a little deeper in the recipes and realise you're missing many hours worth of processing. There's no way we're getting Naquadah today, so I completely underestimated the complexity of this precision assembler. Okay, so here is basically the situation with this. We also need these precise electronic unit casings. 42 of them, I believe, and this is 3 ZPM machine casings each, which is 8 iridium, so that's 24 iridium per 2 casings. Plus 32 signalium bolts, plus 2 EV robot arms, plus 10 Millennium Beta C gears, plus MER CE M200 steel plates. Just when you think you've seen every material in this game, nope. Okay, let's take this one step at a time here. First is to collect and relocate our miner on Mercury, which conveniently actually just finished a couple of hours ago. And it's been moved from Mercury onto Mars, where it's currently mining as salts. We're going to specifically need the lepidolite from this vein. Okay, we have a white light. We should update this sign though. Aha, yes, we are waiting specifically on crushed lepidolite, which has high priority insertion filter on this chest, just temporarily. And we want to filter this so that we're washing it, and then we're going to add it to the drawers back here, which also have insertion priority from the output of all the machines. Which means we should get purified lepidolite being buffered here. So I mentioned we're not going to be fixing the blast furnaces. That isn't true. We're absolutely going to be fixing these today after the realization that we've just had here. So we're going to make sure to keep these full at least until we get round to this. Mainly for the signaling, we need an extra like 150 odd of each. Let's at least fill the input buses. But yeah, we're going to have to process all of this purified lepidolite through a chemical bath. This machine has to be filtered with hydrochloric acid, and this isn't a process I can foresee us using very long term, but we are basically after lithium chloride dust. We also get some other garbage out of this as well, which we're just going to send back into the interface the lepidolite came from. Okay, step 2. You may notice a slightly different recipe for the precise assembler controller. This Hecarium gear replaces the adamantium alloy gear, which was previously unobtainable. It took me a while to get this update sorted, but I think we're fixed now. So one of the things we need to get Hecarium is another one of our LuV Energy input hatches. Looks like we can request another one. Awesome. We need another one as we need actually ZPM power in our blast furnace in order to smelt Hecarium. And Hecarium is made Cenarium, Silver, and Lumium in the mixer. Oh, and thank goodness we have some more Cenarium to spare. We don't need too much, but this is also a very slow process. Let's get some of that mixing. As part of the casing craft, one of the other items we need is that Beta C gear, Tan Millennium Beta C. Looks like we need around 160 of the ingots. And have you guessed yet? This is also a blast furnace recipe. But first we need the dust, which is aluminium, chrome, vanadium, molybdenum, and titanium in the mixer. Let's see if we can get 150. We can, awesome. Step 3 is to also get our hands on some of this double MER CE M200 steel. This is going to be a combination of regular MER M200 steel, so I'm going to make like a couple hundred of this stuff, which is also a blast furnace recipe. That saying's getting very old right now. But the regular M200 has to be combined with cerium and molten lithium chloride. Cerium somehow we have, but this is also... No, I'm not going to say it. Let's just chuck it in there. And this molten lithium chloride fluid is what we get out of this chemical bath with lepidolite, which is also a... So since we're still waiting on so many materials for this, I'm going to start pre-crafting some of this. Mainly the 42 EV robot arms that we need. I wonder if we have a crafting CPU big enough. Oh, we do. Nice. Okay, 285 seconds for this MER steel. Yep, time to fix the blast furnaces. And this is all going to start with roses. Or poppies. Oh man, look at what the roaster's done to our old base here. They have definitely planted their flags here. Yeah, we need red dye for this. But basically what we're going to be doing here is building the Volcanus? This thing, the GT++ blast furnace. Oh, the HSSG quest. Anyways, there is a few caveats to this. Obviously, we're going to need a set of coils for our new blast furnace. And I want to aim for 2 of these things to begin with. What am I doing here? We need wires. Yeah, HSSS I think we're going to be going for. Even though this is quite a precious metal, we should be able to smelt it much faster when we have the Volcanus. So what was it, 20? I think it's 24 for a double set of coils. That sounds about right. Oh yeah, this Hastalloy. This is what also something that we need for the casings. I mean, look at this for our recipe for the casings. And each of these metals is different as well. This is Hastalloy W, Hastalloy N, and Hastalloy X, which is all a slight variation of this recipe here with various dusts through the alloy blast smelter. But yeah, the controller block itself really isn't too bad once we have these GT++ alloys. We just need 2 more IV robot arms and an LuV circuit, along with this computer cube, which does take 2 ZPMs, but I'm willing to invest for this. And once we have all of that built, we also need another fuel source for this as well, not just power like these original blast furnaces take. Oops. That's twice I've done that to ruin it. Let's straighten this out. So yeah, I'm going to work on some of these casings here. I think we're still missing a couple of recipes for these. And we'll come back to build on more pollution. Look at these smokestacks. Behold Volcanus. We have 2 of these guys right now, and I was going to wall shield them originally, but I want to keep as many input hatches as we can free. One of them we got running at LuV, and the other one at IV here. And I also mentioned about this other thing taking special fuel, but that is what this pyrotheum heat invent is for. We are sending this through fluid P2P, and blazing pyrotheum I decided just to set up on passive in a little space we have over here next to tungstate processing. These are EV machines, hopefully they're going to be fast enough. Although I noticed this was quite a slow recipe in the fluid extractor, we may have to buff this up. I'm not sure exactly how much these use. The pyrotheum in this pack is made from coal dust, sulfur, redstone and blaze powder. We don't produce coal dust directly, so we have an extra pulverizer here to pulverize any extra coal. That is buffered and then sent into the fluid extractor. But I am hoping until we get the mega EBF, this is going to tide us over EBF wise. So yeah, let's test these things out. We need to give these things fluid also. So I've dropped an input hatch on each one of these things. We just have to set some filters. I think this LuV one we're going to give nitrogen, since that's what's used in most of the expensive ingots. And therefore I want that in the fastest one. Very good. We'll need a circuit number, probably 11. Yeah, 11 for signalium and lumium. And it's 20 seconds in this one now, down from 80, since this is now a ZPM blast furnace, since we needed that for Hicarium, which is now smelted. Let's see how long it is in Volcanus here. Maybe? Oh, I don't like when this happens, hold on. Oh no, what did we miss? Oh wait a second, it's helium, not nitrogen. Yeah, I swapped it out here, now it's working. So this thing has a 120% the speed of a regular blast furnace, which effectively means it does signalium in 36 seconds, down from 80 in the regular LuV. And according to the tooltip, this thing will do 8 items at once, I think provided you give this thing enough power. But since the signalium is an LuV recipe, and we're not providing it more than 30,000 EU per tick, then I think it will only do one of these. But if we were to do something like steel or aluminium, I believe it would do all 8 at once. The 2 output buses are then connected back up to the interfaces that we have on the input buses. And I think for these Volcanus, we're just going to put some patterns in here and do most of the stuff on demand. And we'll primarily use these things for batch crafting, and probably repurpose this one here for something else. Yeah, like a lot of these patterns here can just be moved over directly into this one. Alright, so I took a second just to figure out the patterns here, and this one we're going to give helium and oxygen, and this one helium and nitrogen. There is some things with this I don't fully understand, like why it doesn't do tungsten trioxide. It should do this recipe, right? Unless it can't handle fluids, I'm not sure. But no matter what I've tried here, I can't get this thing to start, so I don't know. It doesn't do tungsten, but look how fast it does aluminium. So it's a 5-second recipe at IV, but look, we get 24 at a time. Oh, I already love these things. And it doesn't seem to be eating that much pyrotheum either. I mean, these things do have a big buffer, and pyrotheum is going to be passive for us, so we're going to build up on this whenever these things are off. But yeah, when I was waiting on Volcanus, as I mentioned, I did also smelt up the Hicarium gear, which should allow us to get our precise assembler controller. And currently there is no quest for this precise assembler, although I hear that they are adding one. So I'm not entirely sure the full material list for this. I don't think it's going to tell us on this, is it? No. That's a fancy UI though. I seem to recall... Wait a second. Oh, we get some free loot bags. Nice. I seem to recall there was some sort of projector, hologram projector, this thing. I know a few of you guys have been commenting about that, since I'm totally the best at building multi-blocks. Does this thing show us a material list? Oh, it's only 12 precise electronic unit casings we need. I thought it was 42. Okay, well that makes me quite happy. Right, it's only 12 of these things, which is definitely not too bad. That's way more manageable. Yeah, let's get those things ordered. It looks like this is ULV machine hulls in here as well, isn't it? And then reinforced glass. Okay, I think we found a spot for this massive multi-block. And after thinking about this some more, 12 machine casings doesn't seem like very much, right? But we do have, I think, 14 on here. There's 6 on the front face, and then 8 on the back. And the machine casings on the bottom side, I think dictates how high a recipe this will handle. So because we want to be able to make the Neutron Accelerator, we need at least IV casings, I think is the way this works. And for the rest of this, like, can we really just fill this with, like, ULV input buses? Even if we don't use them? I wonder if this structure will actually form like this. Let's find out, I guess. Oh, it did form! Oh my goodness, it actually formed the multi-block. As far as I know, we can screwdriver this thing for normal mode, which effectively turns it into a huge assembling machine, which may actually mean that these PAs are now irrelevant, and we can move all the patterns into this thing. Although apparently it is 50% faster, so it might be worth switching to this thing, considering the amount of input buses and hatches we can have on this. But we want it in precise mode today, and we want to be making this Neutron Activator, finally, right? So we need some tungsten carbide and stainless steel. We need 2 neutron sources, which is just a bunch of uranium, and oh, we're actually out of tungsten carbide. Not to worry, nothing that our Volcanus can't take care of now. After looking ahead at some of the Naquadah recipes, I think we're actually going to build 2 of these Neutron Accelerators. Since there is 2 materials that we can process in this, and I would rather just have 1 machine per. So if we're building 2, that means we need 36 of these processor machine casings, which is okay. That's like over 400 circuits right here that we're going to be here for a while crafting these. Yep, each one is like 30 seconds, so that's a while. A while. Even though I mentioned this thing takes IV casings before, we actually need LUVs in here. These things definitely won't go to waste though. Yeah, for some reason the High Computation Station Mark IIs actually take LUV. They are also going to take some reactor heat vents, the High Computations Mark Is, engraved diamonds, NAND chips, and I think just the fluids left, right? Yeah, we need molten polyethylene, molten inderium, molten signalium, and molten lumium. We got some maintenance to take care of here. And we have already been given this thing LUV power, so hopefully this should just turn on. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but that is a very creepy sound. Yes, we got our Mark IIs. We need 2 more of those things, so 1 more craft. With precision, there's our 4 station Mark IIs. So now, 2 Mark IIs, 2 EV emitters, and a neutron source. It's crafting. 2 seconds for this one. At long last, there is our Neutron Activators, 2 of these guys. And there is one last thing I should probably point out here. The other part of this multi-block is speed and pipe casings, but in the version that we're currently in, these no longer have a recipe anymore. So we're kind of left with no choice but to just, yeah, pull them from JEI, or NEI. Well, here it is, the multi-block we've been waiting for like a week by now, but ignore the 2 missing casings here. We're actually missing the energy hatch in the back, and I think we also need some sort of neutron sensor. Yeah, this doesn't exactly work like all the rest of the multi-blocks. We need to give this thing something else other than power, but that's something else I haven't quite figured out yet, so we're gonna wrap things up here. Yeah, this extra detour to get all these machines, I totally did not anticipate taking this long. But I think I can say with confidence that next episode we'll be able to finish off our Naquadah line. Also, 2 IV loot bags. A sensor. Oh, and an ender pouch. Not too bad, not too bad. Alright, anyways, that is going to do us for today. Thank you once again for watching, and I'll see you all soon for some more Gregtech New Horizons.